This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
My nose is running and my eyes are burning.
President Trump is correct when he said that election security is national security.
I thought it was an unfortunate day for America.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
More coughing courtesy of Canada. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. The bad news, New York and Pennsylvania again under a blanket of hazardous Canadian wildfire smoke.
My nose is running and my eyes are burning. Yeah, and you could smell it.
A central New York woman venting to Spectrum News about the conditions. Pete Buzzetti is in charge of public health for Chemung County, New York.
Take frequent breaks, stay hydrated. If you do start to have any symptoms, like if you are an asthmatic or you have some breathing difficulties, it's important to get inside. As soon as those start to flare up, seek out places with some air conditioning.
New York Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald says the same masks made popular during the pandemic will help you weather these days of decreased air quality.
If you do put a mask on, a mask will protect you as long as it's a KN95 or an N95.
Now, if you're wondering about what the difference is between an N95 mask and a KN95 mask, they both filter at least 95% of airborne particles, but that K variant is made to Chinese standards. They're not as strict when it comes to fit and breathability. All that's the bad news. The good news, the smoke should be on its way out pretty soon.
Portions of our region had a little break from some of the smoke and haze today, especially in central New York, but we'll all be in it tonight into tomorrow, but a change that comes after that.
That's our Kevin Williams. He'll tell us about that coming change during this newscast. Next to the war with Iran, CENTCOM says it launched another round of strikes a few hours ago. Kuwait says it had to intercept missiles and drones over its airspace, likely from Iran. Fox's Mike Tobin is in the region.
Blockade is being enforced. 3 ships as of this morning had been turned back, 1 disabled and 1 boarded by U.S. Marines. This has now for the 6th night in a row, we have seen the intensity of the airstrikes increase.
The U.S. says it has redirected a 4th ship in the Strait of Hormuz that was trying to make it to an Iranian port. A tsunami threat has ended now after a powerful magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck near the coast of Mexico's southernmost state today, triggering a tsunami warning and shaking buildings in neighboring Guatemala and El Salvador. Authorities report no immediate damage or injuries from that powerful quake. The Department of Homeland Security chief says he'll compel states to follow President Trump's election security directives. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen has fired off letters to Pennsylvania and 3 other states saying they have non-citizens on their voting rolls.
President Trump is correct when he said that election security is national security.
In a primetime speech last night, Trump warned the American election system is vulnerable to interference and fraud. Well, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro on WHP after Trump's primetime speech.
I thought it was an unfortunate day for America to have really an unhinged president in the White House spewing a whole bunch of conspiracy theories that are just simply not connected to reality.
Trump also says China exploited weaknesses in our voting system to gain access to some 220 million U.S. voter files, and that there exists within the U.S. a deep state that fought to keep China's actions hidden from the American public. The CDC has reportedly zeroed in on the potential source behind a multi-state outbreak of a nasty intestinal illness, shredded iceberg lettuce supplied to Taco Bell by Taylor Farms. As a possible source, it's being removed from circulation. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Now that we know the probable culprit, I think it's going to be much easier for people to make healthy choices. So by the time that people get sick, the produce is usually gone from the store, and it's hard for FDA to go and find and determine exactly what the source is.
The CDC says while there have been thousands of confirmed cases of the illness, they are clustered mostly in 4 states. Well, here's some positive news on the health front. New data show a reduction in healthcare-related infections in hospitals across the country. The CDC says in 2023, about 1 in every 38 patients hospitalized on any given day had at least one healthcare-associated infection. That's a lower ratio than the 1 in every 31 patients from 2015. At least 2 people dead as major flash flooding hits parts of Texas's Hill Country and Big Bend regions. However, this man says they were better prepared for this latest flooding.
People were more situationally aware. The fire departments were fully staffed. The emergency operations center was already up and running. So all the stuff that we took time to build last time immediately was in place.
Parts of Texas have been battered by heavy rain since Monday night. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories, highlights from today's staycation feature about Gettysburg, and what's your favorite emoji? All coming up after Weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Portions of our region had a little break from some of the smoke and haze today, especially in central New York, but we'll all be in it tonight into tomorrow. But a change comes after that. The cold front that will deliver showers and a couple of strong thunderstorms tomorrow will cleanse in the air and cool the air and set us up for a nicer day on Sunday. It is the peak day of the weekend. In the meantime, for tonight, increasing clouds, increasing haze and smoke. And by late tonight, there'll be a couple of showers from Niagara down to the Lake Erie shore. Low temps 60s. For tomorrow, mostly cloudy, humid, some showers around. Could be a couple of strong thunderstorms, especially during the afternoon and evening hours. High temperatures in the 80s. Sunday, morning clouds followed by sunshine. The air will be more breathable, cooler, clearer with high temperatures Sunday, mostly in the 70s.
Thanks, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Protesters continue to flock together to protest the use of flock cameras in communities around our area. That includes Binghamton, which has the automated license plate readers installed around the city. This protester says the city should pull the plug on flock.
It's time for Binghamton Police and the Groom County Sheriff's Office to concede to the same reality. No more flock, no more automated license plate readers of any brand. This technology is anti-democratic.
Some protesters are concerned about who controls the data collected by those flock cameras and how it might be shared with other agencies, including immigration authorities. Well, July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. Family Life's Bob Price with some news you can use.
Yeah, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, every 48 seconds a car is stolen in this country. Now law enforcement and lawmakers are joining forces to try to cut down on those numbers. Erie County, New York Sheriff John Garcia.
I go around the entire county, and it doesn't matter where I am. From Buffalo, Grand Island, Clarence, doesn't matter. People tell me, Sheriff, what is going on? We've had 4 or 5 cars stolen in our neighborhood last night.
Sheriff Garcia says you should always lock your car, never leave valuables inside it, and try to park if you can in a well-lit area. Bob Price, Family Life News.
Thank you, Bob. A small borough in north central Pennsylvania marking the 30th anniversary today of the crash of TWA Flight 800. 230 people died on that flight from New York to Paris. That included 16 students and 5 chaperones from the Williamsport suburb of Montoursville on a trip to Paris, part of their school French club. Today in Montoursville, a memorial garden sits adjacent to the high school and includes an angel monument on which is etched the names of the 21 local residents killed in that crash. The park is ringed with 21 trees, one for each of the victims. Critics blasting New York's first-in-the-nation moratorium on large-scale data center development. Jack Arpey with Spectrum.
Members of the industry insist 1 year is too long and will stifle New York's technological evolution and economic development opportunities alike. Rob Simpson, CEO of Central New York Economic Engine, Center State CEO.
New York needs to be in the game.
Says a significant part of the question around whether to welcome data centers needs to be what they bring to the community, where concerns exist over limited permanent jobs.
Finding a way to work with some of the most sophisticated and capable companies in the world to access that compute power and put it to work for local governments, for schools, for research institutions.
Jack Arpey with Spectrum News there. The 1-year pause on data centers is designed to help the state develop guidelines to better protect the environment and the energy grid. The massive facilities that fuel AI require tremendous amounts of water and power to operate. And finally, Picklesburg is back in downtown Pittsburgh this weekend. It's the 11th annual edition. It celebrates all things pickles. Organizers expect more than 200,000 visitors. Festivities include foods such as pickle pierogies, pickle ice cream, and of course, course, pickleball, which really has nothing to do with pickles. The event brings in about $20 million for Pittsburgh businesses. Up next, highlights from this week's staycation feature. I had a chance to speak with public affairs specialist Jason Martz with Gettysburg National Military Park in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The Battle of Gettysburg was fought over 3 days, and judging by all that the park has to offer, it seems like it could take that long just to really do a visit there justice.
Yeah, the battlefield here is more than 6,000 acres, and that's just what the National Park Service has jurisdiction over. In totality, the battlefield is actually much larger than that because it actually includes the town of Gettysburg. The soldiers would fight there. It really is one big inclusive space. When you put all of that together, the space that is the Battle of Gettysburg, it really is much bigger than most visitors initially give it credit for, and the story is even bigger. For those who have never been here before, what we often hear is that it's so beautiful, so bucolic. It's such a contradiction to what actually happened here. The misery, the conflict, the blood and guts, if you will, of what the Battle of Gettysburg actually meant on July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 1863 to the soldiers, the men, even the civilians who had to deal with the American Civil War here on their doorstep. Compare and contrast that with what it looks like today. It's such a beautiful place. Visitors, when they first get here, are awestruck by two things. One, it's much bigger than they thought it was, and its overall beauty. If you're going to do it correctly, you shouldn't plan to do Gettysburg by just passing through. Plan to do Gettysburg with maybe 1 or 2 days at the minimum. 2 or 3 days is even better because we not only have the battlefield, but the town itself. There's just so many things to see, so many things to do. If your heart is really into absorbing the stories and the history and the appreciation of American history, this really is one of those places that should be on your bucket list.
Can't really do all of that justice, but we'll do our best to hit some of the highlights. And one of them that most people are at least somewhat familiar with is Lincoln's famed Gettysburg Address, which I really like how your website put this so well, transformed Gettysburg from a place of death and devastation to the symbol of our nation's new birth of freedom.
Yeah, that's easily one of those moments that transformed the United States, and we're still talking about it today. And that moment comes a number of months after the battle is over. The town of Gettysburg is still recovering from this 3-day battle. The two armies have long since moved off into Virginia, but the war is still going on. There are so many Union dead that the question is now being asked how best to honor them. And the idea of a new national cemetery, this idea had never been floated before, was first brought up. All of the states who had men represented at the Battle of Gettysburg would ultimately wind up helping to raise money to purchase the land upon which the cemetery was established. Eventually, we would have a dedication ceremony on November 19th, 1863, where a man by the name of Edward Everett would give the keynote address speech. He was, at the time, the guy to invite. In fact, he was so influential that he altered the original ceremony date because he required more time. And it was in that intervening time that those who were putting the ceremony together, at that point, did they ask President Abraham Lincoln to give a few appropriate remarks. Had he not been so influential, Edward Everett, that is, to move the original ceremony date, Lincoln would have never even been invited in the first place.
Interesting.
And yet it's Lincoln who we remember, not Everett.
Highlights from today's staycation feature on Gettysburg National Military Park. Fascinating place. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Scarcity can reveal whether we see people as neighbors or opportunities. Hi, I'm Rob West with another Faith and Finance Minute. Proverbs 11:26 says, "The people curse him who holds back grain, but a blessing is on the head of him who sells it." In ancient times, grain meant survival. So when someone stored it during a shortage, waiting for prices to rise while others went hungry, Scripture saw something other than smart business. It saw a failure of love and justice. There's nothing wrong with profit, planning, or using wisdom in the marketplace. But followers of Christ should ask a deeper question. Am I using my advantage to serve others or to profit from their desperation? Faithful stewardship does not squeeze people in their need. It seeks what is fair, generous, and good before God. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Thank you very much, Rob. Finally at 5.
Emojis. Each of us does one thing, and we have to nail it every time. The Christmas tree just has to stand there, all festive.
Merry Christmas! It's still September, Tim.
Or July 17th, Tim, which is World Emoji Day. That's a clip from the 2017 Emoji Movie. Now, next time you add one to your text or email, you can thank Shigetaka Kurita. He's the Japanese designer who created the first set of 176 emojis for a mobile internet platform back in 1999, setting the standard for the icons we use today, of which at last count there were some 3,600 that were officially recognized. More come up every year. Billions wind up in digital communications every day. By the way, the reason today is World Emoji Day is because July 17th is the date displayed on the calendar emoji on Apple devices. Winky face. And that's the world we live in for Friday, July 17th, 2026. Thank you again for joining us. Have a blessed weekend. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.